Interesting TCM and acupuncture. Part 6. The 5 organs, characteristics of the lung in Chinese medicine, anatomy and physiology, and the relationship between its functions, orifice, psychology, fluids, and time. Contents: the physiological functions of the lung, physiological characteristics of the lung, relationship between shape, orifice, psychology, fluid, and time. The lung in Chinese medicine anatomy. The lung is located in the chest cavity, and there's one lung on each side of the chest, covering and concealing the heart. The lung is separated into 2 lobes, in Chinese referred to as leaves, with 2 on the left and 3 on the right. In total, there are 5 lobes. The lung meridian and the lung system include the windpipe, throat, and nose, with the nose serving as the external orifice of the lung. The throat is generally considered to be the door of the lung, while the nostrils are considered to be their portal. The function of the lung in Chinese medicine. The lungs govern qi and command the breath. They govern the movement of water and fill the 100 meridians. They govern the joints. Lung qi has a descending and clearing quality in the body. The special features of the lung in Chinese medicine. The lung is the canopy and a tender organ. The lung is the highest of all the organs in the 5 organs and 6 viscera. It acts as the canopy covering all the other organs and is thus known as the wonderful canopy. The lobes of the lung are tender and sensitive, so they do not easily tolerate cold, heat, dryness, or damp, pathogenic attacks on the body. The lung connects upwardly to the nostrils and outwardly to the follicles. They naturally connect to the outside world and thus are sensitive to attack by external pathogens. This is why the lungs are referred to as the sensitive organs. Chinese medicine's view of the form, orifice, psychology, fluid, and time of the lung. On the body, the lung represents the skin. It manifests in the body hair. It opens in the nose. Its spirit is sorrow or worry. Its fluid is snivel. External and internal meridian and collateral relationships. The greater yin hand-lung meridian connects via its collateral to the yang brightness large intestine meridian of the hand, which serves as the external aspect to the lung's internal. The lung is metal in the 5 elements. The lung is metal in the 5 elements and is yin contained within yang. It connects to the energy of the fall. Physiological function of the lung. 1. It controls breathing. The lung governs qi. This was first described in the internal classic Simple Questions 5 Organs Generation article, which says, all qi is related to the lung. The lung governs qi, and this includes respiration and the relationship of the qi to the entire body. This includes 2 aspects. First, it governs the qi of breath. The lung governs the qi of breath and is what allows for qi from the outside environment to be brought into the body and exchanged. This is explained in Simple Questions as heavenly qi connects with the lungs. Breathing is the purpose of connecting with the lungs. The lungs do not stop breathing in fresh air and pushing out dirty air, which is described as spitting out the old and pulling in the new. This allows for the exchange of gases within the body and ties together the entire life process of the body. The lung governs the function of breathing, and in practical terms, the breath effectively governs the descending and exiting function, which controls the exchange of gases in the body. The exchange of qi exiting the body expels turbid qi on expiration, while inhalation brings clear qi into the body. The lung qi on exhalation, ascent, and inhalation, descent, serves the function of adjustment. Expression and inhalation are proportioned and clear when the lung is functioning well. If the lung qi loses either its descending or rising function, it will be visible from the perspective of breath. However, beside presentation often varies. Thus, if it is related to an issue of external objects entering the throat, the air pipes will become blocked. The lung will lose its ascending function, and many forms of chest impediment express themselves, such as gasping and wheezing. In the case that liver qi attacks upward, the yin of the lung will be injured, which mostly presents as cough. 2. It controls the qi of the entire body. The lung controls the qi of the entire body. This refers to the governing function of the qi in the body, which comes from transportation. The simple question 6 nodes of the organ image discussion says, the lung is the root of qi. The lung governs the creation of qi in the body and allows for the creation of gathering qi. Because the qi of the body has both pre-celestial and post-celestial elements, combined in harmony, the gathering qi is a form of post-celestial qi and includes the qi which the lungs bring in from the outside. This combines with the transportation and transformation qi of the spleen and stomach and the essence of water and grains, and forms a combined energy of all of these factors. Gathering qi develops within the lung and collects in the chest in the sea of qi. It passes through the throat and promotes health. The spiritual pivot article, The Five Tastes, says, its great qi coils and does not move. It collects in the chest center and is called the sea of qi. It leaves from the lung and passes the laryngopharynx, allowing the out breath to leave and the in breath to enter. This means that it passes through the heart vessels and assesses the heart and moving fluid. It also allows for qi to be moved in the 3 burners to the lower elixir field under the umbilicus, where it assists the pre-celestial yuan qi, thus contributing to the overall life preservation system of the body and serving an important role. Collecting qi is an important element of the system of the body, and it has a direct relationship with the flourishing and decline of the body. The lung inspires and expires, and its capacity to do so has considerable effect on the development of gathering qi. It may also affect the overall ability of the body to flourish. The lung controls the movement of the qi of the body and has the effect of adjusting the entire structure of the body's qi. The lung manages the rhythm of the breath and adjusts the rising and descending function, as well as entering and exiting movement. When the breath is clear and well regulated, the rhythm is consistent, not hurried, and not overly slow. This allows the organs and viscera, meridians, and collaterals to maintain proper ascending and descending, entering and exiting functions without obstruction. If the lung loses its constant function, it does not only influence the creation of gathering qi in the entire body, but it also causes the body to become deficient in qi, since it does not produce enough. This is called qi deficiency, and it happens when there's not enough qi to properly regulate breath. This results in a low tone of voice and timidity of qi. The appendages will become weak and atrophied, and other similar conditions will befall the patient. This affects the entire body and all of its qi, as well as the ability of the qi to properly travel within the body. It eventually results in the channels and collaterals, organs, and viscera losing the proper regulatory function of the rising and descending function of their qi. The lung controls the qi of the entire body and the qi of the breath. Practically speaking, all of this relates to the function of the lung. The lung's regulation of the breath, and this sets up the parameters along which qi is created and harmonized in the body. If the lung loses its ability to breathe properly, it will absolutely affect the function of qi in the entire body. If the lung loses its ability to breathe, then it will be impossible for qi to enter upon inspiration, or for dirty qi to leave the body on expression, and the metabolism will stop. Therefore, the lung controls the entire function of the qi in the body and never leaves the essential function of the breath. The lungs control the movement of water and therefore control their ability to ascend and descend and adjust the fluids of the body, as well as serving a role in excretion. The simple question chapter entitled Meridian and Channel Differentiation Discussion says they adjust the pathway of water. The lung moving water has 2 major aspects. First, the lung qi connects to upward movement and collects the qi from the spleen until it arrives at the lung, and the essence of water and grain mix with the lung fluids and clear qi of the lungs. Then they spread outward, moving up to the orifices of the face, out and outward, connecting to the entire surface of the skin, making it smooth and moist. This is delivered to the skin by the interstitial fluid tissue via the fluids and wei qi, and pushes sweat and fluids outward. This is related to the function of the wei qi and allows for excretion to the surface of the body. Second is that the lung qi has a descending function and collects with the spleen qi, such that the fluid and qi of grain and water mix together and move inward and down, moistening the organs and assisting in the function of the metabolism, such that the water goes to the kidneys and urinary bladder. This becomes urine as excreted from the body. The lung qi moves upward and downward and controls the fluids. Thus it's said that it controls the movement of water. Because the lung is the canopy, it's the tallest among the 5 organs and 6 viscera, and adjusts the entire water metabolism of the body. In the Qing Dynasty text, Collected Explanation of Prescriptions, it says, the lungs are the origin of the flow of water. When external pathogens attack the lungs lose their ability to rise. Thus, this can cause the fluids of the body to lose their ability and properly ascend and spread out. In the case that there is no sweat, the whole body will become swollen. If inwardly the lungs can be damaged, the lungs will lose their ability to descend. This can also cause issues for other organs, and the turbid fluid will not arrive at the kidney and bladder, meaning that one will experience rebellious coughing, urinary retention, and edema. When the ability to move water is lost by the lung, it affects the spleen's ability to transport the lung fluids and stops normal diffusion. This can cause accumulation of phlegm and dampen the lung. This in turn hinders the water passages and affects exchange in the body. Normally, this results in phlegmatic cough and makes it difficult to lie down. In such cases, the illness may result in full body edema and influence the function of all organs. In clinic, when phlegm accumulates due to the loss of transportation of water, diseases such as edema are likely to occur. At this time, one may use the treatment of raising the lung to assist water, or lower qi to assist water. If water does not properly transport due to blockage, this is because of an external attack on the lung qi and its rising function. Thus, in clinic, there are many ways to clarify the qi and assist fluids in treatment. The internal classic says, open the ghost gate. This is the ancient way of saying, lift up the pot and take off the lid. This is also called opening the upper origin to assist the downward flow. The lungs flooding the 100 meridians refers to the entire blood of the body connecting via the vessels and flowing from the lungs. The breathing of the lungs can assist the body in the exchange of clear and dirty qi. After this, the qi clarifies and descends in action, sending the clear qi to the blood and passing through all the vessels of the entire body. The vessels of the body all relate to the heart, so the heart qi and blood travel around the entire body and derive their strength from the heart. The movement of the blood obtains some of the motive power for its movement from the lungs, which also provide proper adjustment to the blood and assist the heart. The lungs connect via the movement of the breath and adjust the entire system of qi for the whole body, allowing for the movement of the blood fluids. Simple Question says, one out breath causes the vessels to move. One in breath also causes them to move. The classic of difficulties, first difficulty says, one out breath moves the vessels, 3 cun. One in breath moves the vessels, 3 cun. At the same time, the lung breathes in clear air from the outside environment, which connects with the spleen and stomach and transforms the essence of grains and collectively forms gathering qi. The gathering qi passes the heart vessel and moves the blood in its use. The lungs, when sufficient, have full and luminous gathering qi. The qi and blood penetrate the whole body and the blood movement is normal. If the lungs are deficient or obstructed, they cannot help the heart blood move, and so the heart blood does not properly flood the body. This causes sluggishness in the vessels and causes them to stagnate. This in turn causes palpitation and stuffed up chest. The lips may become green and purple, and so on. If the heart qi is vacuous, the yang will not be plucky, meaning the heart blood will not circulate fully, and the lungs will not properly cleanse the qi. Thus, coughing and similar problems will occur. The lungs control the joints, meaning that the lungs control each individual section of the body via the qi, blood, and fluid. The spiritual pivot says, the lungs manage all of the offices and control the joints. There are 4 aspects of the lung controlling the joints. The first is to adjust the progression of breathing. If the lung qi has proper clearing and descending function, the whole body will be affected by the proper adjustment of the breath, and the body will be able to perform the function of exchange. Second, adjusting the structure of the entire body, every part of the body is affected by the movement of the breath. Therefore, breath controls the rising and descending, exiting and entering of the entire body. Third, it controls the movement of blood. Because the lungs fill the 100 vessels and harmonize the functions of rising, falling, exiting, and entering, this will help the heart in adjusting the movement of blood. Fourth, it regulates the jinya fluids and metabolism. The lungs' qi action of cleaning and descending can regulate the water metabolism of the whole body and excrete toxins. The lung regulates the body, and the lung serves as the special function of adjusting the function of the entire body from its high position. 2. Physiological characteristics. The lung is the wonderful canopy. The wonderful canopy comes from the ancient covering of a cart occupied by the emperor. The internal classic says, the lung is the canopy of the organs. The lung is located in the chest cavity and covers the 5 organs and 6 viscera, since it's the highest position. That's why it's called the wonderful canopy. The lungs are in the highest position. They can move water and therefore are called the upper origin of water. The lungs cover the 5 organs and 6 viscera and can purify the defensive qi on the body's surface. This means that they protect the internal organs from external pathogenic attack. Simple Question says, the lung is the largest organ. The Spiritual Pivot 9 Needles discussion says, the lung is the cover of the 5 organs and 6 viscera. Since the lung is the highest organ, it connects to the outside world and can be attacked easily by external pathogens, such as heat, which may aggravate it. The lung's outer aspect is the skin and pores, and wind, cold, dry, and damp may attack them. The skin and follicles can collect pathogens and then attack the lungs inwardly, meaning that the lung is usually the first organ to be affected by external pathogens. Lung is sensitive. The lung is a sensitive organ, and this affects its proclivity to become ill. From the physiological perspective, the lung is clear, empty, and sensitive, and breathing in causes it to fill, while breathing out causes it to empty. Thus, the wonderful canopy of the lung causes the 100 vessels to fill, and in terms of disease, it is typically attacked by the 6 external evils from the surface of the skin and pores. These evils can also enter the mouth and nose and attack the lung, causing it to become ill. Other organ illnesses are often manifested in the lungs. To simplify, the lungs are in the highest position of the organs, which means that it's easy for them to be damaged by exterior pathogens. The lungs are a clear and empty organ, and they have a light and quiet demeanor. They are very delicate and do not resist pathogenic qi well. Thus, no matter which external pathogen, all pathogens which attack the inner body typically also attack the lung and can cause coughing, breathlessness, expectoration of blood, loss of hearing, lung abscesses, and more. If the sensitive lungs are attacked for a long time by a pathogen, then we must use the treatment strategy of treating the upper jiao like a feather. If it's not light, we do not lift it. This means we should use medicines which can make the lungs light and clear. Purifying the diffusion process is key. Excess cold, excess heat, excess moisture, and excess dryness, none of these are good for the lung. Lungs control purification and descent, and the lung qi tends to disseminate upward and scatter in its use. The lung also commands descent, which means that the lung has a tendency to lower and clear and dredge downward. The lung purifies and descends in its use, and lung qi can both rise and descend. This is called lung qi announcing itself and lung qi respectfully descending. The lung qi's ascent and descent work in relation to jin and ye fluids and can be described in 3 ways. First, the out-breath expels dirty qi. Second, the spleen transports the jin-ye fluids and merges them with the essence of water and grain, moving this energy to the orifices of the face. This warms the flesh and fills the skin, as well as the interstices. This also controls opening and closing of the metabolism's function of turning jin-ye fluids into sweat. This controls the function of excretion. The Spiritual Pivot says, when the upper jiao opens, it moves the 5 organs and steams the skin, filling the body, moistening the hair, just like mist in the morning. The Spiritual Pivot also says, the upper jiao expels qi and warms the flesh, harmonizing the bones and joints and connecting the interstices. Because external pathogens may injure the purification function of the lungs, This means the breath may not connect, leading to chest impediment and the defensive qi being used up. This may cause the interstices to close and can result in pathogenic cold and no sweat. This can also cause jin and ye to become stuck in place and causing phlegm to develop. This can lead to the closing off of the airways and pathogenic cough and difficult breathing with inability to lie down. The lung's descending ability can move and diffuse lung qi downward, harmonizing Jinya. This includes three aspects. First, the inhalation brings in clear qi from the outside environment, meaning that the inhaled clear qi and grain qi can mix together and form collecting qi, which can move in the abdomen, assisting the original qi. Second, it can help the spleen qi to transport the jinya together with water and grain essence in order to diffuse and moisten the organs. Third, it can make the zang and fu organ metabolism produce turbid fluid, which may move in the kidneys and bladder, being passed in the urine. The Zhang and Fu organ qi of the body moves according to certain rules, and typically, if the qi is at the top of the body, it's easy to move down. If it's in the lower body, it's easy to rise up. The lung qi fills the chest and is the canopy of the five organs and six viscera. Their qi is clear and descending. If the lungs lose this function, then the breath will be short and there will be a cough and rebellious qi. The lung qi purifies and rises and descends. These two functions mutually control one another and have two aspects. The rising and descending functions adjust each other in relation to the pace of the breath. The fluids naturally accord with the metabolism, and the water essence has four coverings and five paths of movement. If the upward and downward movement is negatively affected, the breath may lose regularity, and there may be hindrance to the metabolism of fluid. Usually this comes from external pathogenic attack. This tends to affect the qi of the lungs in their ability to rise and purify, leading to pathological change internally damaging the lung. If the rising ability and descending ability are both affected, they will usually present together, and this tends to be the case of external wind cold. Typically, the rising and purifying function will be hindered, and this can lead to chest and nasal congestion. Pathogenic cold may cause fever without sweat, and at the same time can negatively affect descending functions of the lung, leading to cough. 3. Relationship between shape, orifice, psychology, fluid, and time. On the body, it is in the skin and manifests in the body hair. Skin and body hair refers to skin in general. Skin is the source of sweat, and the body hair represents the outside of the body. These parts of the body are covered by defensive qi and serve together with the jin ye to warm and nurture the body as well as moisten it in order to protect against pathogens. This adjusts the metabolism and the body temperature, as well as assisting the breath. The lung, in harmony with the skin and body and hair, defines the function of the lung and follicles. The purpose of lung and follicles. First, the lung's ability to ascend and purify can spread to the follicles and assist the defensive qi in warming the flesh, filling the skin, assisting the interstices, and performing the opening and closing function to fight off pathogens. The ascending and diffusing function of the lungs can bring essence to the skin and follicles, allowing jin and ye to transport water and grain essence to the entire body surface, follicles and interstices, nurturing them. This is what causes a ruddy, moist complexion. If the lungs are deficient in essence, the lung qi will be vacuous, which will lead to the protective exterior being compromised and excess spontaneous sweating, as well as easily catching cold. It can also cause the skin to lose its moisture and become withered. The follicles and lung have two functions. The Neijing refers to the mysterious office and gate of qi as the place from which sweat may emerge from the body and excrete toxins. This relates to the ascending and diffusing function of the lungs and how they allow for exchange within the body. Second, the follicles collect pathogens, causing the lungs to be affected. If cold pathogens stay on the exterior of the body, the protective chi may not be able to protect against them, meaning that cold may become fever and the head and body may be sore with no sweat and closed off vessels. In such cases, if there is coughing, it's typically a sign that the lung has been affected. In this case, the external must be opened in order to treat the disease. In the orifices, it is the nose. The nose is the gate from which air travels during breathing. The nose has a direct relationship with the lungs and is the orifice of the lungs. This can be explained by the breath being the highest point of exchange in the body, meaning that the lungs and throat are directly connected to it. This is how we obtain our sense of smell. The nose connects qi to the sense of smell and thus relies on the lung for the purpose of diffusion. The lung qi diffuses and the nostrils benefit, making the breath even and sense of smell sharp. If the lung loses its ability to diffuse upward, the nose will become stuffed and the breath will not work as well, meaning the sense of smell will also be damaged. Thus it's said that the nose is the office of the lungs. The spiritual pivot says the lung qi connects to the nose and the lung harmonizes with the nose to know fragrant smells. In clinic, we often observe the nose in our clinical analysis in order to see if there is a snivel and if the sense of smell is functional. If smell is lost, there may be ways to scatter the qi and bring back diffusion to the lungs. In the mind, the lungs are worry. The spirit of the lungs is said in the internal classic to be of two types. One is sorrow and the other is worry. However, in terms of the mutual overcoming of the five emotions, it is said sorrow defeats anger. So sorrow and worry must have been seen as having some slight differences. Typically, people's bodies are affected in similar ways by sorrow and worry, and thus they're both associated with the lungs. Sorrow and worry are normal emotions in the human body and are created by lung essence and lung qi. The lung essence and lung qi create an appearance in the physical form. If one is excessively sorrowful or excessively worried, this is not a good emotional state and can affect the body. This will cause injury to the lungs, essence, and qi, and can result in pathological changes to the ability of the lung to descend and diffuse. Simple Questions says sorrow causes the qi to be consumed. Sorrow and excess can cause difficulty in breathing and lead to a deficiency of qi. Conversely, if lung essence and qi is vacuous, the lungs will not be able to descend properly, and this may cause people to become despondent and easily enter into states of sorrow and worry. Snivel refers to the snivel of the nose. The sticky fluid of the lung moistens the nostrils. Nose snivel is the transformed product of lung essence, and in the diffusion of lung qi, it performs the task in the nostrils. Simple Questions says, in the five fluid transformation of the organs, snivel belongs to the lungs. The lung essence and lung qi, if not normal, can result in changes in the snivel. If the lung essence and lung qi are sufficient, the snivel of the nose will lubricate the nostrils and will not leak out. If cold pathogens attack the lungs lung qi will lose its ability to diffuse and the lung essence will experience pathogenic collection of cold, making it difficult to transform. The nose will then begin to drip clear snivel. If the lungs will become hot and obstructed, this can cause coughing and snivel, and it may become yellow and turbid. If dry pathogens attack the lung, the nose may become dry and painful. The lungs connect to the energy of fall. The five organs naturally connect to the yin and yang energy of the four seasons. The lungs are governed by the fall season. The lungs belong to fall, and in the five elements, they belong to metal. This time of fall is gradually becoming cooler, and grass and trees lose their essence. The human body uses the lung to move qi downward. which is the action of yang within yin. Thus, the qi connects to the same energy as fall. Fall has the energy of killing, and it reduces the maturing energy of summer. The lung qi causes downward movement, which causes the heart fire to be controlled so it cannot attack upward. The lung is the same as fall qi, and the lung metal follows the same action as fall in its ability to collect and contain. During the fall days, the body, qi, and blood all follow a collection cycle in the body, and the qi has a tendency to decline and fall in preparation for winter. This is why the self-cultivation school attempts to nurture the qi by using the energy of fall to contain it. Simple Question says, the 3 months of fall cause the will to become quiet and placid, slow and unhurried, collecting the spirit and qi. It causes the fall qi to be level, and there is no mind which wanders outside the body. This makes the lung qi clear and follows and complies with the qi of fall. This is the Tao of self-cultivation. Healing the illnesses of the lung requires one not to lose too much qi during the fall, and requires the body to contain and descend qi. Outside of this, the fall's qi is clear and dry, so the lung's clear and empty nature prefers to be moist and despises dryness. This is why it's easy to become sick with dry pathogens of the lung in the fall. In clinic, this often presents as dry cough without phlegm, dry nose and mouth, and dry skin. What is the Chinese medicine understanding of the lung? An anatomy. The lung is in the chest cavity. It covers the heart. There are 2 lobes on the left and 3 on the right. In total, there are 5 lobes. Physiological function. It governs qi and the breath. It governs water. It fills the 100 vessels. It controls the joints. Physiological characteristics. It is the wonderful canopy and the sensitive organ. Structure and office. It is the skin on the body and manifests in the body hair. Orifice. It opens in the nose. Emotion. Its emotion is worry and sorrow. Fluid. Its fluid is snivel. Meridian and collateral. The greater yin hand lung meridian. External and internal. It is internal to the large intestine yang brightness meridian of the hand and is connected by the lung meridian channel. Collateral. Yin and yang nature. In the 5 elements, it is metal. It is yin in the center of yang. Connection to nature. It connects to the energy of fall. Function and model. For more than 2,000 years, the internal classic has guided us on the rules of the function of the lung in Chinese medicine. This has helped us decide the treatment of lung issues and has persisted until today. This is the end of the class. Make sure you test yourself on the following information. The lung of Chinese medicine is located in the chest, covers the heart, has 2 sides with 2 lobes on the left and 3 on the right, totaling 5 lobes. It controls the breath and water movement in the body. It fills the 100 vessels and controls the joints. It's the wonderful canopy and sensitive organ. On the body, it's the skin and manifests in the follicles. It opens in the nose and manifests in the emotions as sorrow and worry. Its fluid is snivel. It belongs to the greater yang lung meridian of the hand and connects to the bright yang large intestine meridian of the hand by its collateral, sharing an internal-external relationship. In the 5 elements, it belongs to metal. It is yin within yang, and it connects to the season of fall. Thanks for watching.